Welcome back to another episode of Immigration Insight, where we dive deep into the world of US immigration. I'm your host, Kishore, and today we have a special guest, a professional who's been exploring the possibility of applying for the EB-1A visa. But first, joining me is none other than the immigration attorney with decades of experience, Shah Peerally. Shah, welcome.
Thanks, Kishore. I'm always excited to talk about extraordinary people who are making their way to the U.S. And of course, today's topic, the EB-1A visa, is close to my heart because it's designed for those who have truly excelled in their fields.
Absolutely. And Shah, today we're not just talking theory. We have a client who's considering this path and is seeking more information. So, without further ado, welcome Alma, a researcher working abroad and looking at the EB-1A visa as a route to the US. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Kishore. I've been following your podcast for a while, and I'm excited to learn more. I've heard that the EB-1A visa could be an option for someone like me, but I'm currently outside the US. So, I'm curious. What are my chances? And how could it help me make the move to the US?
That's a great question. So, the EB-1A visa is designed for individuals with extraordinary abilities in fields like science, arts, education, business, or athletics. And what's interesting is, you don't necessarily have to be in the US to apply. You can be anywhere in the world and still qualify for this visa if you meet the criteria.
Shah, for our listeners who might not know, can you break down what qualifies as extraordinary ability?
Sure. Extraordinary ability means that you are among the top few percent in your field, someone who has gained sustained national or international acclaim. You don't need a job offer or a sponsoring employer, which makes it unique. You just have to prove you have these exceptional skills and that your work would benefit the US. Yes, absolutely. What we're talking about here is something called consular processing. If you're approved for the EB-1A, you don't need to be in the US. You can go through your local US consulate to get an immigrant visa stamped on your passport, and then you can enter the US on a green card. The biggest advantage? The EB-1A leads directly to a green card, which means you're a permanent resident from the moment you arrive. No need for employer sponsorship, and no need to worry about visa caps or lottery systems like the H-1B. Another huge perk. No labor certification process, which means less bureaucracy and faster processing in many cases.
That's huge, Shah. A direct path to permanent residency. What could be better?
Yes, one case that comes to mind is a journalist from Pakistan who we helped under the National Interest Waiver, or NIW. Now, the NIW isn't quite the same as EB-1A, but it's another way extraordinary individuals can come to the United States without an employer sponsor. This journalist was reporting on critical issues in South Asia, human rights violations, political corruption, and his work was truly in the national interest of the United States. We applied for the NIW for him while he was still in Pakistan, and he went through consular processing to get his green card. No employer sponsorship, just based on his qualifications and how his work was in the US interest.
That's incredible. So he didn't even have to come to the United States first?
Exactly. He never had to leave Pakistan during the application process. He got his green card through consular processing at the US Embassy, and once it was approved, he was able to move here as a permanent resident. For someone like you, the EB-1A could work similarly if you meet the criteria. The United States wants people who are the best in their field, whether they're already here or overseas.
I think that's an eye-opener for a lot of people listening, especially those who think they need to be in the United States to make this happen.
Of course. When we evaluate someone for EB-1A, we look at the 10 regulatory criteria USCIS sets out. You need to meet at least 3, and those include things like receiving major awards, publishing scholarly articles, having your work featured in major media, or making significant contributions in your field. I work with clients to gather evidence that proves they meet these criteria, and then we prepare a strong petition.
And just to clarify, if I don't meet the criteria for EB-1A, are there other options like the National Interest Waiver that could still help me?
Definitely. If the EB-1A isn't the right fit, we look at other options like the NIW, which might be more flexible depending on your field and how your work benefits the United States. There are several pathways, so it's about finding the best one for you.
It's all about navigating the options, and that's why having an experienced attorney like Shah makes such a difference. Well, Alma, it seems like you're in a good position to explore this further.
Yes, I feel much more informed now. Thank you both so much for the insight. I'm definitely going to start gathering my documents and working with Shah on this.
That's fantastic to hear. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. Shah, thank you again for your expertise, and to our guest, good luck with your EB-1A journey.
Thank you, Kishore. It was a pleasure, and I look forward to helping more people like Alma achieve their immigration goals.
And with that, we're wrapping up today's episode of Immigration Insight. Be sure to tune in next week for more tips and success stories. If you have questions or are interested in learning more about your immigration options, visit www.peerallylaw.com or call 510-742-5887. You can also reach the team via WhatsApp at +1 279 218 7093. Thanks for listening. Please don't forget to subscribe.